The Hydro Archon Focalor is finally released, and I am very excited to pull for her and use her in my teams. With that, I think it's just fitting to create a video about our beloved Archons. Hi, this is Beidou. In this video, I will be ranking the playable Archons we have so far. To do this objectively, we will be ranking them based on their gameplay, kits, and team utility, and not about their lore or design. I will discuss their pros and cons too. And just a disclaimer, all of the Archons we have so far are very strong on their own. The last in rank doesn't mean they are weak and useless. It's just that there are characters who have better gameplay than the others, and I think that's fine. Now, let's get started. Top 5 on our list is Venti. I have a feeling you already saw this coming, since Venti is the first Archon to be released 3 years ago. The reason why he placed this low is because he can be easily replaced by Kazuha, who arguably has a better crowd control mechanic, and Sucrose, who is just a 4-star character that can compete with 5 stars due to her kit. And both of these substitutes can provide EM, which is essential in an elemental reaction based game. Another reason is because Venti's burst just feels clunky at times. There are many times in the Spiral Abyss where I have to repeat the floor because I had Venti's vortex pointing in the wrong direction. That just sucks. Lastly, his cancellations are just not the best. Like, why do we need 2 additional arrows for his charge attack? His Situ is good, but there are others who can do this with their base kit. However, what makes Venti worth it is because he is the Animo Archon, which means he can wear the Viridescent Venerer set, which is one of the original OP artifacts in the game. This allows him to have a stronger swirl, and also decreases the enemy's elemental resistance. Also, one of Venti's best weapon is actually free, the Favonius Bow. His passive gives his skill the ability to create an up current which allows us to fly. This is very useful in exploration, especially for early AR. Lastly, although Venti's burst can sometimes be a hit or miss, when it works, it's just insane. Just take a look at how Venti obliterates the enemies even before Ganyu can do a charge attack. His burst also has synergy with characters like Neurvelet. He might be low on our list, but I believe Venti has one of the best personalities in game. That's why I love him. 4th on our ranking is Zhongli.
Osmanthus wine tastes the same as I remember. But where are those who share the memory?
It kinda hurts that he ranked this low on our list, because Zhongli is my favorite character, and one of the reasons why I played the game. He is actually my first featured 5-star, but I need to be objective here. Our Geo Daddy plays 4th because there are already tons of shielders in the game. Also, the Element Geo doesn't have the most useful reaction as of now. His constellations, just like Venti, aren't the best too. And last reason why he ranked 4th is because his Ascension bonus is not the most usable for most players. He ascends with Geo damage bonus. Though his burst outputs a decent amount of damage, most players will only care about his shield and not his Geo damage, since he is mainly a support character. But what I like best about Zhongli is, although there are already a lot of shielders to substitute him, he still has the best shield until now. He doesn't only have the strongest shield, it also shreds enemies' elemental and physical resistance, which I think is one of his best selling points. Most elemental shields are usually immune to their respective elements, but although Geo is a very plain element, Zhongli's skill and burst Geo damage actually destroys shields very fast, including Geo shields. And also, Geo Resonance is actually not that bad. If you are not using him in Geo teams, Zhongli is one of the few flexible Geo characters that actually works well with non-Geo units. Another good thing about Zhongli is, he is very easy to build. Just use the Tenacity of Millilith, which gives attack buff and shield strength, which works well with his skill. Slap him HP artifacts and you're good to go. Not to mention, his best weapon is just 3-star Black Tassel. Imagine, a free weapon. In addition, he is also great for exploration since he can break stones easily. He also provides crowd control with this cool burst animation. I just love him so much. I highly recommend getting him. The remaining 3 playable female Archons are all broken. I really had a hard time thinking who would rank 3rd, 2nd, and 1st because they are just so good and strong. So let me say that the differences between the top 3 to 1 is so minimal. With that being said, our top 3 Archon is Nahida. Some of you might be surprised, but the thing is, although she is an insane Dendro unit, her buff and kit mostly revolve around Dendro-based reactions only, unlike the top 2. This makes her a little less flexible, but this is just nitpicking. As I said, their differences are so small, so this is the only flaw I can see. But there are tons of reasons to love Nahida. First, she is one of the best supports. She gives tons of EM. This is crazy for Dendro reactions such as Hyper Bloom and Aggravate and Spread. In addition to this, she also has the best Dendro application in the game. This is due to the fact that her skill constantly applies Dendro, and she uses Catalyst too. This is the reason why she is a must for most Dendro teams. Next, her skill is very easy to use and is very helpful for exploration. I think it's one of the best exploration passives we have so far. It allows you to gather plants from long distances without consuming stamina. Her ascension bonus is also perfect. She ascends with EM, which is not that common in Genshin. And her constellations are very useful and strong. Imagine Bloom-based teams being able to crit. She is just a tiny small monster. That's why many adore her so much. Now it's just a battle between Furina and the Raiden Shogun for the top 1 spot. Who do you think will be crowned the best Archon? Our top 2 Archon is Furina. She was just released, but she plays very high. The only 2 reasons that I can think of why she plays 2nd and not the 1st is because 1, she is a new unit. And that means we still have to check her compatibility with teams like the Hyper Bloom. Second reason is her early constellations are strong, but it might not be as big as a buff as Raiden. And that's just it. Now she plays higher than Nahida because she's a Hydro character. I made a video about why Hydro is the best element in game. But to summarize, Hydro characters enable strong reactions such as Hyper Bloom and Vape. She also has both Pneuma and Weisha art, unlike other Fontaine characters. This is just a minor detail that most players will not care about, but it's only fitting because she's the Archon. Now to a bigger reason why she plays 2nd. She has a crazy damage buff and healing in one. Many characters can buff and heal at the same time, but most of the time they either have to equip a weapon or artifact that buffs allies to do this. Furina doesn't have to. Her damage buff is even higher than Yalan, who can do 50%, and Mona, who can do 60%. The Hydro Archon can do 75% damage buff at C0. That is just insane. Also, her healing capabilities may eliminate the need of having a shielder in your team, which means you have an extra slot for another character in the Spiral Abyss. And she doesn't just buff and heal. She also outputs a ton of damage with her skill while applying Hydro. If all these things don't impress you, she can walk on water permanently. This is not new since Kokomi can do it, but Kokomi can only do it with her burst active. This is very helpful in explorations outside Fontaine. Now before we proceed and talk about our top Archon, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you get notified when I go live. Without further ado, our top Archon is the Raiden Shogun. There are a lot of reasons why she plays first. One of them is because she is the best battery for all the elements, not just Electro. And mind you, energy recharge is a very underrated stats that most players disregard. I saw a lot of players sometimes including me, prioritizing crit rate and damage while neglecting ER. A very high energy recharge is a must, especially for burst-dependent DPSs like Yelan, Xingqiu, and Xiangling. Even my Xiangling with high ER and Bennett cannot burst on cooldown at times. That is why Raiden is the best. She makes life easy for players because she can give energy to her teammates. Having a high burst cost won't be a problem if you have the Electro Archon in your team. Aside from giving energy, she also buffs bursts of her allies with her skill, and many of our top DPSs are burst reliant. That is why her best team is Raiden National, since two of her teammates are burst DPSs that are energy hungry. She also works well with Yelan and Yae Miko. It doesn't end there. She also deals very high personal damage with her burst, and can also work with Hyper Bloom teams since she can trigger Electro at long ranges and even when off-field. She just has it all. And to add to her greatness, one of her best weapon is free, the Catch. This weapon is just built for her. Her C2 is also broken. She ignores 60% of her enemy's defense. That's just pure monster. With all this combined, there are a lot of teams she can fit to, be it Raiden National Variation, Taser teams, Aggravate, and Hyper Bloom. And since she has been out for a while now, it is guaranteed that her teams perform well in any situation. I can say that if you are thinking of which Archon to save for, you should save for Raiden first. She is a very high value character, and then get the rest after her. We reached the end of the video. All I can say is that all of our beloved Archons are strong. Their lore is well written, their design is top notch. This video is just a guide for players who want to see Archons' pros and cons. At the end of the day, you choose who will you pull for. Before we end, comment your Archon ranking below. Do you agree with mine? Again, this is Earl Beidou. See you next time.